Adi Parva, Section 94. Janamejaya said, O adorable one, I desire to hear the stories of those kings who were descended from Puru. Oh, tell me of each as he was possessed of prowess and achievements. I have, indeed, heard that in Puru's line there was not a single one who was wanting in good behavior and prowess, or was without sons. O thou of ascetic wealth, I desired to hear the histories and detail of those famous monarchs endued with learning and all accomplishments. Vaisampayana said, Asked by thee, I shall tell thee all about the heroic kings in Puru's line, all equal unto Indra in prowess, possessing great affluence and commanding the respect of all for their accomplishments. Puru had by his wife Paushti 3 sons, Pravira, Ishvara, and Rodrasva, all of whom were mighty car warriors. Amongst them, Pravira was the perpetuator of the dynasty. Pravira had by his wife, Suraseni, a son named Manasyu, and the latter, of eyes like lotus petals, had his sway over the whole earth, bounded by the 4 seas. And Manasyu had for his wife Sauviri, and he begat upon her 3 sons, called Sakta, Sahana, and Vagmi, and they were heroes in battle and mighty car warriors. The intelligent and virtuous Kodraswa begat upon the Apsara Misrakesi 10 sons, who were all great bowmen, and they all grew up into heroes, performing numerous sacrifices in honor of the gods. And they all had sons, were learned in all branches of knowledge and ever devoted to virtue. They are Richeyu and Kaksreyu and Vrikeyu of great prowess, Standeleyu and Vaneyu and Jaleyu of great fame, Tijeyu of great strength and intelligence, and Satyeyu of the prowess of Indra, Dharmeyu and Sanateyu, the 10th of the prowess of the celestials. Amongst them all, Richeyu became the sole monarch of the whole earth, and was known by the name of Anhadrishti. And in prowess he was like unto Vasava amongst the celestials. And Anhadrishti had a son of the name Matinara, who became famous and virtuous king, and performed the Rajasuya and the horse sacrifice. And Matinara had 4 sons of immeasurable prowess, Tansu, Mahan, Atirata, and Druyu, of immeasurable glory. Amongst them, Tansu, of great prowess, became the perpetuator of Puru's line. And he subjugated the whole earth and acquired great fame and splendor. And Tansu begat a son of great prowess named Ilina, and he became the foremost of all conquerors and brought the whole world under his subjugation. And Ilina begat upon his wife Rathantara 5 sons with Dushmanta at their head, all equal in might unto the 5 elements. They were Dushmanta, Sura, Bhima, Pravasu, and Vasu. And, O Janamejaya, the eldest of them, Dushmanta, became king. And Dushmanta had by his wife Shakuntala an intelligent son named Bharat, who became king. And Bharat gave his name to the race of which he was the founder, and it is from him that the fame of that dynasty hath spread so wide. And Bharat begat upon his 3 wives 9 sons in all, but none of them were like their father, and so Bharat was not at all pleased with them. Their mothers, therefore, became angry and slew them all. The procreation of children by Bharat, therefore, became vain. The monarch then performed a great sacrifice, and through the grace of Bharadvaj obtained a son named Bhumanyu. And then Bharat, the great descendant of Puru, regarding himself as really possessing a son, installed, O foremost one of Bharat's race, that son as his heir apparent. And Bhumanyu begat upon his wife, Pushkarini, 6 sons, named Suhotra, Suhotri, Suvhavi, Sujaya, Divhirata, and Kichika. The eldest of them all, Suhotra, obtained the throne and performed many rajasuya and horse sacrifices. And Suhotra brought under his sway the whole earth, surrounded by her belt of seas and full of elephants, kine, and horses, all her wealth of gems, of gold. The earth, afflicted with the weight of numberless human beings and elephants, horses, and cats, was, as it were, about to sink. And during the virtuous reign of Suhotra, the surface of the whole earth was dotted all over with hundreds and thousands of sacrificial stakes. And the lord of the earth, Suhotra, begat upon his wife, Aikshaki, 3 sons, Ajamidha, Sumidha, and Purumidha. The eldest of them, Ajamidha, was the perpetuator of the royal line, and he begat 6 sons. Riksha was born of the womb of Dumini, Dushmanta and Parameshtin of Nili, and Janu, Jala, and Rupina were born in that of Keshini. All the tribes of the Panchalas are descended from Dushmanta and Parameshtin, and the Kushikas are the sons of Janu, of immeasurable prowess. And Riksha, who was older than both Jala and Rupina, became king. And Riksha begat Samvara, the perpetuator of the royal line. And, O king, it hath been heard by us that while Samvara, the son of Riksha, was ruling the earth, there happened to be a great loss of people from famine, pestilence, drought, and disease. And the Bharat princes were beaten by the troops of enemies. And the Panchalas, setting out to invade the whole earth with their 4 kinds of troops, soon brought the whole earth under their sway. And with their 10 Akshohinis, the king of the Panchalas defeated the Bharat prince. Samvara, then with his wife and ministers, sons and relatives, fled in fear and took shelter in the forest on the banks of the Sindhu, extending to the foot of the mountains. There the Bharats lived for a full 1,000 years within their fort. And after they had lived there for 1,000 years, one day the illustrious Rishi Vashishta approached the exiled Bharats, who, on going out, saluted the Rishi and worshipped him by the offer of Arghya. And entertaining him with reverence, they represented everything unto that illustrious Rishi. And after he was seated on his seat, the king himself approached the rishi and addressed him, saying, "Be thou our priest, O illustrious one. We will endeavor to regain our kingdom." And Vashishta answered the Bharatas by saying, "Om," the sign of consent. It hath been heard by us that Vashishta then installed the Bharat prince in the sovereignty of all the Kshatriyas on earth, making by virtue of his mantras this descendant of Puru the vertebral horns of the wild bull or the tusks of the wild elephants. And the king retook the capital that had been taken away from him, and once more made all monarchs pay tribute to him. The powerful Samvara, thus installed once more in the actual sovereignty of the whole earth, performed many sacrifices, at which the presents to the Brahmanas were great. Samvara begat upon his wife, Tapati, the daughter of Surya, a son named Kuru. This Kuru was exceedingly virtuous, and therefore he was installed on the throne by his people. It is after his name that the field called Kuru Jangala has become so famous on the world. Devoted to asceticism, he made that field, Kurukshetra, sacred by practicing asceticism there. And it had been heard by us that Kuru's highly intelligent wife, Vahini, brought forth 5 sons, Avikshit, Bhavishanta, Chaitraratha, Muni, and the celebrated Janamejaya. And Avikshit begat Parikshit the powerful, Savalasva, Adhiraja, Viraja, Salmali, of great physical strength, Uchaishravas, Bangakara, and Jittari, the 8th. In the race of these were born, as the fruit of their pious acts, 7 mighty car warriors, with Janamejaya at their head. And unto Parikshit were born sons who were all acquainted with the secrets of religion and prophet. And they were named Kaksasena and Ugrasena, and Chitrasena, endued with great energy, and Indrasena, endued with great energy, and Sushena and Bhimasena. And the sons of Janamejaya were all endued with great strength and became celebrated all over the world. And they were Dhritarashtra, who was the eldest, and Pandu, and Valika, and Nishadha, endued with great energy. And then the mighty Jamvunada, and Kundhodara, and Padati, and then Vasati, the 8th. And they were all proficient in morality and profit, and were kind to all creatures. Among them, Dhritarashtra became king. And Dhritarashtra had 8 sons, Kundika, Hasti, Vitarka, Krata, the 5th, Havisravas, Indraba, and Bhumanyu, the invincible. And Dhritarashtra had many grandsons, of whom 3 only were famous. They were, O king, Pratipa, Dharmanitra, Sunitra. Among these 3, Pratipa became unrivaled on earth. And, O bull of Bharat's race, Pratipa begat 3 sons, Devapi, Shantanu, and the mighty car warrior Valika. The eldest, Devapi, adopted the ascetic course of life, impelled thereto by the desire of benefiting his brothers. And the kingdom was obtained by Shantanu and the mighty car warrior Valika. O monarch, besides, there were born in the race of Bharat numberless other excellent monarchs endued with great energy and like unto the celestial rishis themselves in virtue and ascetic power. And so also in the race of Manu were born many mighty car warriors like unto the celestials themselves, who by their number swelled the Adi Dynasty into gigantic proportions. Section 95. Janamejaya said, O Brahmana, I have now heard from thee this great history of my ancestors. I also had heard from thee about the great monarchs that were born in this line, but I have not been gratified, this charming account being too short. Therefore, be pleased, O Brahmana, to recite the delightful narrative just in detail, commencing from Manu, the Lord of creation. Who is there that will not be charmed with such an account, as it is sacred? The fame of these monarchs, increased by their wisdom, virtue, accomplishments, and high character, hath so swelled as to cover the three worlds. Having listened to this history, sweet as nectar, of their liberality, prowess, physical strength, mental vigor, energy, and perseverance, I have not been satiated. Vaisampayana said, Hear then, O monarch, as I recite in full the auspicious account of thy own race, just as I had heard it from Dvaipayana before. Daksha begat Aditi, and Aditi begat Vivasvat, and Vivasvat begat Manu, and Manu begat Ha, and Ha begat Pururavas, and Pururavas begat Ayus, and Ayus begat Nahusha, and Nahusha begat Yayati. And Yayati had 2 wives, Devayani, the daughter of Usanas, and Sarmishta, the daughter of Vrishaparvan. Here occurs the shloka regarding Yayati's descendants. Devayani gave birth to Yadu and Turvasu, and Vrishaparvan's daughter Sarmishta gave birth to Druhyu, Anu, and Puru. And the descendants of Yadu are the Yadavas, and of Puru are the Pauravas. And Puru had a wife of the name Kaushalya, on whom he begat a son named Janamejaya, who performed 3 horse sacrifices, and a sacrifice called Viswajit. And then he entered the woods, and Janamejaya had married Ananta, the daughter of Madhava, and begat upon her a son called Prachinvat. And the prince was so called because he had conquered all the eastern countries, up to the very confines of the region where the sun rises. And Prachinvat married Asmaki, a daughter of the Yadavas, and begat upon her a son named Sanyati. And Sanyati married Varangi, the daughter of Drishadwata, and begat upon her a son named Ahyanti. And Ahyanti married Banumati, the daughter of Kritavirya, and begat upon her a son named Sarvabhauma. And Sarvabhauma married Sunanta, and the daughter of the Kekaya prince, having obtained her by force. And he begat upon her son named Jayatsena, upon her a son named Jayatsena, who married Susrava, the daughter of the Vidarbha king, and begat upon her Avachina. And Avachina also married another princess of the name Vidarbha, Maryadha by name, and he begat on her a son named Arihan. And Arihan married Angi, and begat on her Mahabhauma. And Mahabhauma married Suyajna, the daughter of Prasenajit, and of her was born Ayuttaneyi. And he was so called because he had performed a sacrifice at which the fat of an Ayutta, 10,000s of male beings, was required. And Ayuttanayi took for a wife Kama, the daughter of Pritusravas, and by her was born a son named Akrodhana, who took to wife Karamba, the daughter of the king of Kalinga. And of her was born Devatiti. And Devatitis took for his wife Maryadha, the princess of Videha. And of her was born a son named Arihan. And Arihan took to wife Sudeva, the princess of Anga. And upon her he begat a son named Riksha. And Riksha married Jwala, the daughter of Takshaka. And he begat upon her a son of the name Matinara, who performed on the bank of the Saraswati the 12-year sacrifice said to be so efficacious. On conclusion of the sacrifice, Saraswati appeared in person before the king and chose him for husband. And he begat upon her a son named Tansu. Here occurs a shloka descriptive of Tansu's descendants. Tansu was born of Saraswati by Matinara, and Tansu himself begat a son named Ilina on his wife, the princess Kalingi. Ilina begat on his wife Ratantari, 5 sons, of whom Dushmanta was the eldest. And Dushmanta took to wife Shakuntala, the daughter of Vishwamitra, and he begat on her a son named Bharat. And here occurs 2 shlokas about Dushmanta's descendants. The mother is but the sheath of flesh in which the father begets the son. Indeed, the father himself is the son. Therefore, O Dushmanta, support thy son, and insult not Shakuntala. O God among men, the father himself becoming the son, rescueth himself from hell. Shakuntala hath truly said that thou art the author of this child's being. It is for this, because the king supported his child after hearing the above speech of the celestial messenger, that Shakuntala's son came to be called Bharat, the supported. And Bharat married Sunanda, the daughter of Sarvasena, the king of Kashi, and begat upon her the son named Bhumanyu. And Bhumanyu married Vijaya, the daughter of Dasara. And he begat upon her a son, Suhotra, who married Suvarna, the daughter of Ikshvaku. To her was born a son named Hasti, who founded this city, which has, therefore, been called Hastinapur. And Hasti married Yasodhara, the princess of Trigarta, and of her was born a son named Vikuntana, who took for a wife Sudeva, the princess of Dasara. And by her was born a son named Ajamidha, and Ajamidha had 4 wives, Raikeyi, Gandhari, Visala, and Riksha. And he begat on them 2,400 sons. But amongst them all, Samvara became the perpetuator of the dynasty. And Samvara took for his wife Tapati, the daughter of Vivaswat. And of her was born Kuru, who married Subhangi, the princess of Dashara. And he begat on her a son named Vidurata, who took to wife Supriya, the daughter of the Madhavas. And he begat upon her a son named Anaswan, and Anaswan married Amrita, the daughter of the Madhavas. And of her was born a son named Parikshit, who took for his wife Suvasa, the daughter of the Vahudas, and begat upon her a son named Bhimasena. And Bhimasena married Kumari, the princess of Kekaya, and begat upon her Pratisravas, whose son was Pratipa. And Pratipa married Sunanda, the daughter of Sivi, and begat upon her 3 sons, Devapi, Shantanu, and Valhika. And Devapi, while still a boy, entered the woods as a hermit, and Shantanu became king. Here occurs a shloka in respect of Shantanu. Those old men that were touched by this monarch not only felt an indescribable sensation of pleasure, but also became restored to youth. Therefore, this monarch was called Shantanu. And Shantanu married Ganga, who bore him a son, Devavrata, who was afterwards called Bhishma. And Bhishma, moved by the desire of doing good to his father, got him married to Satyavati, who was also called Gandakali. And in her maidenhood, she had a son by Parasara, named Dvaipayana. And upon her, Shantanu begat 2 other sons, named Chitrangada and Vichitravirya. And before they attained to majority, Chitrangada had been slain by the Gandharvas. But Vichitravirya became king and married the 2 daughters of the king of Kashi, named Amvika and Amvalika. But Vichitravirya died childless. Then Satyavati began to think as to how the dynasty of Dushmanta might be perpetuated. Then she recollected that the Rishi Dvaipayana, the latter coming before her, asked, "What are thy commands?" She said, "Thy brother Vichitravirya hath gone to heaven childless. Beget virtuous children for him." Dvaipayana consented to this, begat 3 children, Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and Vidura. King Dhritarashtra had 100 sons by his wife Gandhari in consequence of the boon granted by Dvaipayana. And amongst those 100 sons of Dhritarashtra, 4 became celebrated. They are Duryodhana, Dushasana, Vikarna, and Chitrasena. And Pandu had 2 jewels of wives, Kunti, also called Prita, and Madri. One day, Pandu, while out a-hunting, saw a deer covering its mate. That was really a rishi in the form of a deer. Seeing the deer in that attitude, he killed it with his arrows, before its desire was gratified. Pierced with the king's arrow, the deer quickly changed its form and became a rishi, and said unto Pandu, "O Pandu, thou art virtuous and acquainted also with the pleasure derived from the gratification of one's desires. My desire unsatisfied, thou hast slain me. Therefore, thou also, when so engaged, and before thou art gratified, shalt die." Pandu, hearing this curse, became pale, and from that time would not go in unto his wives. And he told them these words, "Through my own fault I have been cursed, but I have heard that for the childless there are no regions thereafter." Therefore, he solicited Kunti to have offspring raised for him. And Kunti said, "Let it be." So she raised up offspring. By Dharma, she had Yudhishthira. By Maruta, Bhima. And by Shakra, Arjuna. And Pandu, well pleased with her, said, "This thy co-wife is also childless. Therefore, cause her also to bear children." Kunti, saying, "So be it," imparted unto Madri the mantra of invocation. And on Madri were raised by the twin Ashwins, the twins Nakula and Sahadeva. And one day, Pandu, beholding Madri decked with ornaments, had his desire kindled. And as soon as he touched her, he died. Madri ascended the funeral pyre with her lord, and she said unto Kunti, "Let these twins of mine be brought up by thee with affection." After some time, those 5 Pandavas were taken by the ascetics of the woods to Hastinapur, and were there introduced to Bhishma and Vidura. And after introducing them, the ascetics disappeared in the very sight of all. And after the conclusion of the speech of those ascetics, flowers were showered down upon the spot. And the celestial drums also were beaten in the skies. The Pandavas were then taken by Bhishma. They then represented the death of their father and performed his last honors duly. And they were brought up there. As they were brought up there, Duryodhana became exceedingly jealous of them. And the sinful Duryodhana, acting like Rakshasa, tried various means to drive them away. But what must be can never be frustrated. So all Duryodhana's efforts proved futile. Then Dhritarashtra sent them by an act of deception to Varanavata, and they went there willingly. There an endeavor was made to burn them to death, but it proved abortive owing to the warning counsels of Vidura. After that, the Pandavas slew Hidimva, and then they went to a town called Ekachakra. There also they slew a Rakshasa of the name of Vaka, and then went to Panchala. And there, obtaining Draupadi for a wife, they returned to Hastinapur, and there they dwelt for some time in peace and begat children. And Yudhishthira begat Prativindya, Bhima, Sutasoma, Arjuna, Shrutakirti, Nakula, Satanika, and Sahadeva, Shrutakarman. Besides these, Yudhishthira, having obtained for his wife Devika, the daughter of Govasana of the Saiva tribe, in a self-choice ceremony, begat upon her a son named Yaudheya, and Bhima, also obtaining for wife Valandhara, the daughter of the king of Kashi, offered his own prowess as dower, and begat upon her a son named Sarvaga. And Arjuna also, repairing to Dwaravati, brought away by force Subhadra, the sweet-speeched sister of Vasudeva, and returned in happiness to Hastinapur. And he begat upon her a son named Abhimanyu, endued with all accomplishments, and dear to Vasudeva himself. And Nakula, obtaining for his wife Karinumati, the princess of Chedi, begat upon her a son named Niramitra. And Sahadeva also married Vijaya, the daughter of Jyotimat, the king of Madra, obtaining her in self-choice ceremony, and begat upon her a son named Suhotra. And Bhimasena had some time before begat upon Hidimvi a son named Gatotkaja. These are the 11 sons of the Pandavas. Amongst them all, Abhimanyu was the perpetuator of the family. He married Uttara, the daughter of Virata, who brought forth a dead child, whom Kunti took up on her lap at the command of Vasudeva, who said, "I will revive this child of 6 months." And though born before time, having been burnt by the fire of Ashwatthama's weapon, and therefore deprived of strength and energy, he was revived by Vasudeva and endued with strength, energy, and prowess. And after reviving him, Vasudeva said, "Because this child hath been born in an extinct race, therefore he shall be called Parikshit." And Parikshit married Madravati, thy mother, O king, and thou art born to her, O Janamejaya. Thou hast also begotten 2 sons on thy wife Vapushtama, named Satanika and Sankukarna. And Satanika also hath begotten 1 son named Ashwamedadatta upon the princess of Vidya. Thus have I, O king, recited the history of the descendants of Puru and of the Pandavas. This excellent, virtue-increasing, and sacred history should ever be listened to by vow-observing brahmanas, by kshatriyas devoted to the practices of their order and ready to protect their subjects, by vaishyas with attention, and by shudras with reverence, whose chief occupation is to wait upon the other 3 orders. Brahmanas conversant in the Vedas and other persons, who, with attention and reverence, recite this sacred history, or listen to it when recited, conquer the heavens and attain to the abode of the blessed. They are always respected and adored by the gods, brahmanas, and other men. This holy history of Bharat hath been composed by the sacred and illustrious Vyasa. Veda-knowing brahmanas and other persons who, with reverence and without malice, hear it recited, earn great religious merits and conquer the heavens. Though sinning, they are not disregarded by anyone. Here occurs a shloka. This Bharat is equal unto the Vedas. It is holy and excellent. It bestoweth wealth, fame, and life. Therefore, it should be listened to by men with rapt attention. Hare Krishna.